It's fresh because you guys have been doing this for a good long while. You know these characters like the back of your hands.
We're such good actors.
I like it when it's more manageable. If it's a 22.5-minute television episode, or even a 90-minute feature, it follows the traditional 3-act structure.
Yeah.
With video games, you have no idea how these people are going to branch off and play this game. It just makes you endlessly schizophrenic,
Yep.
which is probably harder or easier for my character than it is for
It's much harder for
Kevin.
me.
Yes. So how can Batman have a neutral response, a hugely negative response, or a hugely positive response to the same event? It's got to be terribly hard.
And we'd like 3 takes of each line. Yeah. For hour after hour after hour. It's really a hard process. Much harder process.
Because you can't keep track of everything. And also, too,
Yeah.
one thing that we can't ever know for sure is how the game is going to play.
Yeah.
You know, how the controls are going to work and whether you think it's a challenge or what. I remember I got a call from Nathan, my son, because, Dad, go to joystick.com. You guys got like a 9.4 or something. I'm like, is that good, son? It's great. Get over there right now. I was walking just down the hall 2 years ago for Arkham Asylum, and a guy with a British accent, this really happened, came up to me and said, "Congratulations, Mr. Hamill. I want you to know that Arkham Asylum has won a Guinness World Book of Records for the best reviewed comic book game ever." And he gave me this big plaque, and I posed for it, and then he took the plaque away and disappeared, and I never saw him again. I want to know, is that really true, or was that a major prank?
No,
I
it's...
wind up on an Ashton Kutcher show.
No, it's true. We did get in the Guinness Book of World Records. I was over in the studio when they came in and they did the photography with everybody. I thought you had to sit on a flagpole for about 3 weeks to get one of those things.
Really? Well, I may be suspicious that he didn't let me keep the award. So I would have given it to, whoever blocked it, but I only had it for about 40 seconds.
All right, now so for the sequel, obviously you're coming off a big high. You're clearly raising the stakes a little bit. Do you want to talk to us what you can about what's going into the game, how you guys have collaborated? More importantly, why is Talia in the game? Why did you pick her?
I can't.
Why would you not pick her? Are you crazy?
To talk about it. Only these guys to our right know who we're authorized to talk about.
We're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah, we can't tell who's in it.
Well, we put Talia in the game because she's such an awesome character. We can't really say why she's in the game because that would spoil a massive part of it. But, when we moved into making Arkham City, we really just tried to look at everything that worked in the first game and just really ramp it up and make a much better experience for the player and really focus everything around that. So, better gameplay, more gameplay, getting more Batman characters in, and just really make them as good as possible.
When picking the characters to put in the game, you have quite a few to choose from, but the Arkham universe is very specific. So, out of the Rogues Gallery, how did you decide who you were going to grab? And if you want to tell us something that we don't know about, feel free.
Yeah, we don't want to tell you anything you don't know about. We started off, we have the core narrative that runs through the game, so we knew pretty much in the first week when you were over, it was going to be Hugo Strange and Batman and Arkham City, etc. But as the game's progressed and Arkham City's got bigger and bigger, we found loads more opportunities to put more characters in. Because obviously the great thing about Arkham City is, it is a prison, so we can put any of the bad guys in there. And then it's interesting to see what they do once they get into Arkham City. So, Riddler chose to build a bunch of death traps and find a way to trap Batman, whereas Cameraman is actually in there purely to give the player a kind of interesting date-based challenge in order to hear his history, different things he's done over a year, which we collaborated on, quite a lot.
That was a lot of fun. Was coming up with his dialogue and the information he would exchange with Batman. And I'd say that was pretty much some of the more straightforward writing of the game. Is some of the stuff that doesn't involve the main gameplay, where we actually get into the characters' heads. Calendarman was a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, and it works really well in the game. Then we also have the tapes are back, so you get in the heads of all the different villains, but from the point of view of Hugo Strange. So Like I say, we just try and cram as much story elements and characters in as we can.
And then there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't work, you know, like we had gone off on a tangent early on about an element of the story that we can talk about probably next year that just kind of fell by the wayside, but it would still make a great, you know, idea for a story or graphic novel or something.
Alright, so
DLC.
I actually have a question for Mark. Hello. Now, of the new characters that are coming to the stage, we're seeing a lot more villains. So Joker's got a little bit more competition. So, in your mind, when you were doing the performance, did you feel like you had to step it up?
Competition for the Joker.
Really, you always try and fulfill whatever is on the page. You know, accomplish what the writers and directors wanted. Okay.
Put it down and keep it. Yeah.
So these are prompts. And,
It's Battle Damage Robin.
Very good.
okay, well,
Is that Killer Croc there? Yeah, so now in any case, in this version, I was trying to fit the Joker to what it was that was required in this particular scenario. You guys saw the trailer, they showed the Spike Awards. That's the foundation that I'm working on. And I didn't know, you know, nobody tells me these things. Did you know there were action figures for Arkham Asylum? I didn't. What, two series of 5, right? Now remember, I'm going to be picking the raffle number.
Oh, snap.
So
I want it.
let's work on it. I got to get those figures, you guys, somehow. You think I can get them here at the con? Are they on sale down on the floor? I'll go look for them.
I want
Well, we're
it.
actually doing a new set of toys to support Arkham City. In fact, that's what these are here. So the first wave is actually Harlequin,
Oh, man.
Battle Damage Robin.
you lost a whole leg.
Yes. And then obviously Killer Croc here, which is probably as hefty as Bane is there. So
Now, those were based on your drawings, Jim?
these were actually based on a guy in my studio, Wildstorm, Carlos Deanda. These and he did all the designs from the first game in about half.
Oh, that's
He's drawing
awesome.
the book too, and he's
Oh, I want
fantastic.
that.
Well, you should tell what
my
you were
God, I
telling
want
me,
that
because
so
I had
bad.
no idea that you were doing. For instance, Paul wrote a book that bridges Asylum to City, and you said there's comic books that are in the process of being released, or it'll be collected in a trade paperback. Tell them, because I forgot.
Sure,
My
sure.
short-term memory.
Yeah.
You told me while we were waiting to come on, I'd forgotten already.
No, normally, you know, we print the comics after the games come out and kind of put it together and support the game afterwards. On this one, we really wanted to coordinate our efforts and put out the comic book as the game ships. So when the game comes out October 18th, you can actually go to the store and get a trade hardcover that collects all the stories preceding that release date. And it features basically the interlude between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, written by Paul, drawn by Carlos Deanda, who did all the designs for these toys and characters. And it's really a first. It's never been done before in the world of print.
Yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot of time that takes place between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City because a whole different city has been, you know, constructed. So it was fun to play with that kind of time lapse in between of the about a year or so between the Arkham riots and the rise of Arkham City. And the story, some of the stories
I know, it's
are
awesome.
really big in the comics. Some of them are small. In the digital ones that we're doing online, those are little slice of life stories involving some of the villains and some of the allied characters that will be showing up in the game. Thank you. I also have to thank Derek Friedolfs, who is scripting some of the digital chapters. He's doing an awesome job on those.
Now, I guess I should ask, if these are Arkham City action figures, right?
Correct.
So that means Killer Croc is in Arkham City?
You know,
Maybe.
I don't know. I go to Jack in the Box a lot with my wife, and you know, every time we go, she stares at the menu for like 15 minutes, and I go like, you know exactly what's on the menu, right? Why do you have to spend so much time thinking about it? This is Batman. We all know the characters that are going to be in this game. I have one anecdote about a character, and they shut me down, so I can't share it. But honestly, sorry. But
Oh, man.
No, and I know like someone's heart is about to explode. But yeah, I mean, it's the world of Batman, so you know who all the heavy hitters are, and obviously these guys are great about sort of readapting these characters for this game, and it's a completely different look for the mythology, so it's very exciting.
And it's safe to say this is wave 1, maybe? So implying more waves?
That would imply, yes, you're right. So it's just, this is, yeah, I don't know how you would phrase that. Screwed up.
You want to side a Killer Croc with that?
All right.
She orders the number 6. Each and every time.
Now, as far as what you guys are doing with the game, there's some neat stuff that you guys are putting in the collector's edition. Jim, do you want to run us through some of that stuff?
It depends, I think, depending on which retail shop you go to. So I don't know if that's been finalized yet.
Well, the one that's in the DC booth.
The one that's in the DC booth?
Yeah? You got sketches and stuff? Okay.
I don't know if I can talk about that. I'm just,
All right. We can't go to the DC booth. There's stuff.
There's stuff.
I know some stuff is exclusive depending on where you buy it, but
Yeah,
I'm
that's all
not
good.
100% sure.
Now, how much of Arkham City has kind of come out of what everybody in this room that's very vocal on the internet has suggested or asked for? And this is more of a question for Paul. You do listen to them, right? Oh, or the Pauls. Come on.
Well, we really, go read everything that all the forums and all the community have said about the game. I mean, we have to say we started Arkham City kind of a few months before the last game came out, so the story was pretty much fixed, I think, when we started. But we got to sort of see what people liked about the game, and that's how we've evolved. What the different characters are doing within Arkham City.
All right. And so, how big of a Batman fan are you? How big of a Batman fan is that studio? Because you played the first game, there's no way that you guys could have phoned that in, so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Batman fan. A lot of the people at work there's now more Batman fans than there were when we started. I think most walls in the studio have some kind of bat symbol on them. It's pretty much just the House of Bat now, I think.
I think the thing that impressed me the most from my first meeting, my first visit to Rocksteady was there were images of artwork around the walls that were not really of Batman or the Rogues Gallery villains, but they were things that were very atmospheric, like seeing, the words Arkham Asylum on a brick wall with ivy, surrounding it. Something that said that they were putting a lot of thought into the visualization of the world, that it was a cross between, the classic Batman look, but it was fused with maybe a British sensibility, a little bit of a Victorian imagery, so that you had that mixture of high-tech and old-fashioned, the creepy gothicness. And there were a few nighttime shots that were just were amazingly atmospheric. And if you get that sense of excitement from just those images, then you know that whatever that character looks like is going to be well served, and it's going to be really, really exciting. So from the minute I saw the background images and just those few paintings, I was going like, man, this game's going to be great.
Now, how'd you adjust the focus of the game? Because in the Asylum, you were kind of stuck on an island, so you knew what you had to play with. But now we've got a very large area, much bigger than an island. How did you where did you stop yourselves from basically killing yourselves from deciding to do a ton of stuff?
I think we're still killing ourselves making this game. The game is huge, but we really, our principle in making it has always been, to really make the player feel like they are Batman. And so every design decision we make is purely based around that. So one of the great things about playing Batman in the city was we were able to develop a gliding system so you can move around the entire game without touching the ground, where you can drop down, take out thugs, then straight away grapple straight, back onto rooftops and really feel like you're Batman doing it. And I think that was the kind of eureka moment for us when the whole city came together as to, why this could be really cool.
All right, so I'm keeping an eye on the clock. We've got one nice little surprise for you guys. Even though I couldn't get them to actually give up anything that they can't talk about, there is a trailer we want to show you that if you look sharp, you might see something.
Sweet.
And then after the trailer, there was a Batman somewhere up here that I can't see, but we're going to give him away. But first things first, I think we're going to look at that trailer. Everybody look sharp. You might notice something. And if not, we'll just ask them later. Right? Do you want to hit the trailer now?
Sweet. Yes.